Welcome to the T3 Internal YouTube channel. In this episode, I wanted to introduce you to the team. With us all being virtual and COVID happening and what have you, we're not able to work together as much as I would like. So I thought one way to bridge the gap is to have a video introduction of all of the team members. So here goes.
Hey, greetings from Overland Park, Kansas. For those of you I've not met in person, I am Nathan Stout, and I'm the CFO for T3. But I also wear a lot of hats like a lot of different people within the business and get involved with a lot of different aspects of our business. Most days, especially now, you're going to find me, working from my house in an office in our basement. This year, actually, 2020 marks my 25th wedding anniversary to my wife, Gretchen. And while I'm originally from Iowa, she and I met in Kansas City and have 3 boys who are in various stages of college or graduate school. Last year, Gretchen and I actually became empty nesters when our youngest son, Evan, left for college to study mechanical engineering. Right now, at least, I love to be outside in nature. I love to travel, and I stay pretty active. I run and I bike, and I like to get out on my motorcycle and just generally stay pretty active. I also, enjoy a good book, a well-crafted or just plain old cold cocktail, and certainly like a good cup of coffee with friends, and just like to find out what's going on. For those of you who do not know, I am also a 3-time survivor of cancer, who most recently had a stem cell transplant coming up on 2 years this coming October. That transplant is really what likely, I guess, saved my life and staved off another recurrence of lymphoma. Most days, I feel lucky to be alive and kicking, but I do feel great. I have great support from family and friends, and definitely from my T3 colleagues. So that's a blessing.
I'm Rob Falkner. I have been asked to describe a little bit about myself, why I enjoy working at T3, my background, and some other areas that we want to talk about. So I live in Kansas City in the Overland Park area. I've got 2 daughters, both in college now, and a wife that is a pianist. I love music. I love audio. I like learning about music and things like that, although I don't play. I've worked in a lot of different areas, from high-tech areas and semiconductors, working for Motorola 30 years ago, to working in even high-technology consumer goods 20 years ago. I've been very interested in bringing a lot of new ideas to people. I've got a number of patents, and it's all been around entering new technology areas, new marketing areas, and commercializing those technologies in a way that helps people. I've done communication work, building up some of the first cellular systems in the country back when I was at Motorola. And then from there, I worked in semiconductors and brought a lot of high-scale manufacturing technologies to market, both in the commercial sector and in the military sector. And that leverages a lot of interest that I've had working in military history and taking a lot of these technologies and bringing them to new areas. So there's a question of why we're all at T3. One of the areas that I've always had an interest in is building new companies. I've had my own company where it's been a 2-person job when I lived in Phoenix, where my first daughter was born. And I've had other opportunities to work in smaller companies that have either been a turnaround or working in a growth area of a large company trying to commercialize new technology.
Hello T3, I'm Daniel, and it's my honor and privilege to share with you why T3. In fact, I've been reflecting over the last 40 years of all the jobs I have had, going back to when I was 10 years old as a newspaper deliverer. I had a morning route and 2 afternoon routes. I then started a lawn care business, and I was a janitor twice, a dock worker, a truck driver, the long big rigs, 53 foot. I was a tennis instructor, an actor, a tax preparer, a ventriloquist, and then I ended up in the telecom industry for 15 years and the security industry for 5 years. Boy, it's been a long time since those ventriloquist days, and it reminds me of a story. I had a gig once down in Arkansas, and I was halfway through my delivery, and this big burly Arkansan gets up in the back and he says, "You better shut your mouth, buddy. I know what you're thinking, but we're not all that stupid down here." And as I stammered out a quick apology, he stood up and pointed his finger right at me in my chest, and he said, "I ain't talking to you, buddy. I'm talking to that foul-mouthed fella on your knees." Charlie, that joke's for you, sir.
Hey everybody, my name is Sanjay. I'm excited about talking to you about myself and about T3 Broadband. Just a little bit about myself. My family is originally from India. I came to the United States when I was 2 years old. Moved to Dallas, Texas when I was 5. Been there over 40 some odd years. Went to Texas A&M, studied there, and then I got my MBA there. Went to work for Ernst & Young in management consulting, helped launch their telco practice. Then I went to Ericsson and worked in their strategy consulting practice, working with different operators and really growing the market. Then I went off and started my own company around virtual communities and social media, but it was a little bit ahead of its time. Went back to Ericsson, working for companies like Singular. We're actually doing consulting for companies like Singular and Verizon, some of the tier 2 and tier 3 markets, some of the rural customers, etc. Worked in other areas like mobile broadband, managed services, headed up something called value creation. After that, I've worked in various business development roles, etc. And now I'm at T3. I met Chris before. We used to work together at Ericsson. So my wife, she's originally from India. She's a physical therapist. So during this COVID time, she's actually in the hospitals, 5-6 days a week. Luckily, we've been safe. She's helping people rehabilitate and get back to work. Got 2 kids. My son will be in 11th grade. My daughter will be in 9th grade. And I have a dog. It's a 120-pound Rhodesian Ridgeback. So I like to say I take him for walks, but sometimes he's actually walking me. So it's pretty fun. Looking forward to closing out 2020 in a great way.
A little bit about myself. I started my career at Texas A&M University working in a research lab, which was funded by IBM and got me into IBM to pay my way through school. I was working in the Unix division, which is for them was AIX. And after I graduated, I started my career at Ericsson. I worked as a network engineer doing global installations of billing, provisioning, OSS, and ultimately I moved into prepaid and other wireless portions of the network. I was a solution architect and moved into sales, business development, and ultimately into management, running multiple divisions, and ending my career there running the wireline division. After a period of time, I thought it was interesting to go work with Dave and John at T3 and see what we could do to grow that. So here we are now, and we've grown quite a bit. I'm very proud of the team. I think we've surrounded ourselves with a lot of very good people. So a little bit more about myself. I love to travel. One of my claims to fame is that I've traveled all 7 continents. I've been to all 50 states. Here's an example of one of my greatest trips, which was spending a month in Antarctica. Other passions of mine are racing. I love car racing, any kind of racing, but I love car racing. Formula One is my passion. I love mountain biking and just getting out in nature and what have you. I love photography, video editing, graphics. We live in the Dallas area, and I've got 2 kids and a beautiful wife. I hope this helped. I hope you got to learn a little bit about our team. One thing I would like to do is have more of these as we rotate through the team, so you could learn a little bit more about each of the individuals within the company and some of the leadership within the company.